Hello and welcome to That Man. That is me merchandise, and today we are talking original English light novels. Now, original English light novels are an entire genre that I have never even picked up on. I knew they existed, and I'm a fan of a lot of people's works. However, until now I've never actually read one. Fortunately for me, the creator of Lord of Goblins, Michael Werbrook, reached out to me asking me if I wanted to review it, and I was just like, yes, I accept. And honestly, a huge thank you to him for doing so, because this has really opened my eyes. An original English light novel is essentially a light novel that is created in the West. A lot of inspirations come from light novels, so it's a book. Either way, the genre is something that's still more or less in its infancy. I don't see a lot of people talking about this content, so I thought, you know what, I might as well, because hey, somebody's got to do that. The story follows Lev, a character who is, well, to put it simply, he's essentially just declared world peace. Not long after declaring world peace, he is assassinated because, of course, he has to be isekai'd in some way. And straight away I started seeing things that I don't see in Japanese light novels. Sure, we have had the character who turns into Tanya, the evil who is a successful businessman, or we tend to find characters who are overworked and then die, but we've never really seen somebody who has managed to make it in life, is a huge success. And that was one of the things that really intrigued me by the start of it. This is a person who has reached the top of the ladder and has fallen, well, shot from it. Lev, after passing away, wakes up in a goblin's body. These goblins, they're kind of the lowest of the low. They essentially are slaves, and there's a lot of uprising that's gonna have to be done, because Lev isn't gonna take things lying down. He needs to protect his new goblin sister. And what follows is a rather intriguing story about corruption, politics, and just the social uprising of the lowest. Lev soon manages to put the things he already knows in the real world into place, meddling in others' affairs while also managing to secure a position on the food chain for him. And what I found interesting in this is that it was exactly as I hoped. This character is going to become the Lord of Goblins eventually. But what I really liked was how they started off on the bottom. If you remember, I recently covered a title called So I'm a Spider, So What, where the character was reborn into another world at the bottom of the food chain. And through a lot of struggling, a lot of uprising, a lot of special skills, she eventually starts becoming more and more powerful. In this, Lev has only the things available to him. He's essentially a slave. He's not really going to get high class weapons or being overpowered. But what he does have is his mind and his political abilities in order to improve himself and those around him. What soon starts to happen is there's a shift in the characters' positions, and I really enjoyed this aspect of the story. Now, this is a dark fantasy through and through, and really I quite enjoyed it. If you like titles such as Goblin Slayer or Overlord, or even the saga of Tanya the Evil, you're going to get a lot more mileage out of it, as opposed to if you like the high school romantic comedies that we often see in isekai. There is no overpowered characters, there's an overpowered brain character. Maybe think of characters such as maybe Senku from Dr. Stone, where he's using the things that he knows to make the world around him a better place. Or perhaps maybe Mine from A Sentence of a Bookworm, where she's kind of using the things that she knew in a past life to try and make things a little bit better around her. It's not quite as optimistic as Bookworm or Dr. Stone. There's a lot of very dark and very deep lore put into this title, but that makes it all the more better. There's a lot of stuff in here that kind of just improves as you go on. I'm not going to lie, I really struggled with the first 50 or so pages. There is quite a few flashbacks and a few things here and there that keeps going back and forth with the characters, but you can tell once the authors got into this, once they really started to get to grips with the characters, the series really starts to pick up, and once it does, it is an absolute huge, really fast page turner. I recall reading the first half of it a few days ago and struggling through to get it, and then I picked it up and then I literally just read the last 100 pages within a few hours. Lord of Goblins is a title that I was really surprised with, and really goes to show that there is a lot of different stuff when it comes to a Western title. And when I mean different stuff to a Western title, I mean stuff like, there's a lot of stuff in here that we probably wouldn't see when it comes to an Eastern title. For example, the whole politics thing, we don't seem to see that quite as much when it comes to Eastern light novels, but it felt really at home in this particular title. It felt that that was where it was all geared towards. Of course, the characters' names are more of an English discretion, and it really managed to pull itself quite well. I really liked the way it kind of felt. It didn't feel like I was reading a Japanese light novel. It felt something a lot more Western. And I know a lot of the issues that some people do have is that they try to adapt the Japanese writing style while also making it as if it's being translated from Japanese to English. And I know a lot of people do have that issue. Lord of Goblins, however, doesn't seem to have that. While I do feel like the first 50 pages with the constant flashbacks and the back and forth between different characters' perspectives were initially confusing, it does manage to pull itself out of there as the story goes on. And I'm really excited to see how this story improves and continues as the volumes pile up, because if you are a writer, you always want to feel like you're improving as the story goes on. If you are at the same place at the beginning of a story and towards the end, you haven't improved as a writer. And quite frankly, there's a lot of other series that do the same. Little known series that I feel like does that is One Piece. A lot of early One Piece, yeah, it does build up to later stuff, but you can see a huge change in the way Oda writes his story as opposed to when he first started compared to now. The same goes with stuff like My Hero Academia and Naruto. Nearly every long-running series starts off different, moves to a different point, and then continues with that while evolving. Evolution is the backbone of every story, and I'm really glad to see how this story evolves as it goes on. Ultimately, Lord of Goblins was a really fun read. While it does have a few problems here and there, and if you are looking for a Japanese light novel, it might not scratch that particular itch. It is, however, an honest-to-God, true work of fiction. It is one that you can tell that the authors do genuinely have a love for their characters, and they have put a lot of hard work into building this unique and interesting dark world. I'm going to leave some things in the comments and in the description of where you can pick this one up. You can pick it up on Amazon, on Kindle, and I would really recommend checking it out if you have something, if you want to try out an original English light novel. You can do a lot worse. But that's just my opinion. If you've read this, let me know what you think in the comments, and do go check them out. Please go check them out. Thank you for coming, and if you did enjoy this, leave a like, consider subscribing, and I will see you next time. Thank you for coming, and thanks again for staying. Goodbye.